Michael Van Kurt 3576. Definitely appreciate you supporting the video. Alright, special shout out to @Tim Custom RC for supporting the super thanks in the last video. Definitely appreciate it. Then we have @Mel's Pat T. Appreciate the super thanks in the last video, brother. Means a lot to see you supporting several videos. Then we have @Dylan Simon 9401. Definitely appreciate you supporting the super thanks in the last video. It means a lot to me, brother. Then we have @Corty73. Been supporting a lot of videos lately. Definitely appreciate and value your support. Then we have @Johnny Haberfield 721. Appreciate the super thanks. The euros mean a lot. And @Andrew Magro 7703. Appreciate you supporting several videos as well. Means a lot to see the same names over and over again on these videos. Then we have @Jeremy Stewart 1785. Definitely appreciate the super thanks in the last video. Then we have @Extreme RC 6797. Now let's get on to today's video. Thanks for sharing.
All right, welcome back. We are out here with the Promoto again. Getting the GPS fired up. 4 satellites, track, start, stop, read, zeroed out. We're gonna wait for them satellites to pick up while this thing powers up. I did put some new remotes or some new batteries in the remote. There we go, 5.8. Get better reception on this. I think this rear tire, looking over the footage, has got way too much grip and is causing it to flip because it's got so much power now. But we're gonna find out today. But I'm gonna do a long, slow pull to about 3/4 throttle today and see if we can get a clean run without flipping this thing. Gyro's almost fired up. Track, 12 satellites. Start. It is testing. So we're gonna go. The road's pretty quiet right now. I'm gonna try to save some battery life. Look at the road. Get in position. I'm gonna walk farther down because I want to do a longer pull than normal, so I want to stand on this hill. This should be a good spot right at the fire hydrant. We are going to get into position. Try to do one clean sweep. Right up into a wheel stand. Right at about 3/4 trigger. And a sheriff went by. Put this thing against the curb. That didn't seem any faster. I just couldn't get on the trigger. Stop. Read, 68 miles an hour. It's really stuck. Track, start. It's really stuck right at that 68, 70 mile an hour range to where it wants to wheelie with the power that I have in this thing right now. Oh, here comes this guy again. I just kind of stopped it in the middle down there because I went so far. We have radio range issues, so I really tried to carry it out. That's the problem with using Spectrum rather than my Futaba with the range extender on it, is that you get so far out there, you got to carry this so far out that you really don't have like control. Wheelie 2 times on the upper end down here. I feel that was probably about 70, maybe 72. Got to about 3/4 trigger and it wheelied and I had to let off. But definitely looking like this thing's gonna have to go pretty darn far to hit that 100 mile an hour. So there are a couple of people that are out there now doing speed runs. STL_RC has been doing it for a little while. He's got a little Casso system in there. Didn't really share what he had going on with his, but Mitch RC, ran across his videos I want to say yesterday, and he's got a pretty big 6S Casso system cut into his Promoto, and he's got some serious potential with that thing. I think the last I saw he did a 2S and 3S run, and I think he hit 66, but he's having range issues too. See, what happens is when I lay it over to make my turn, it gets up on this back wheel or on this, and then it won't pick itself up. It's got to be like that to get up. And that's on the chain side, just grinding on the chain. So we'll see what this is while we're out here, and then let this thing cool down. Stop, read, 75 miles an hour. Just because, like I said, I carried it way out. But that's about, you know, this thing's got so much more in it. I'm gonna power this thing down, try to save some battery. It's got so much potential. I just don't know if I have the range with this radio. I think that's gonna be our big thing. But we're gonna get this thing back to the car. I did put new, like I said, new batteries in this remote because the Spectrum DX5s and DX5Cs, they'll eat up battery. And when you get down to about 5 volts on this radio, it will start losing range earlier. So what I always suggest is to throw a new set of batteries if you're running the alkaline batteries. Best thing would be to put a lipo pack or a life pack in it just to get that 6 volts. It's a pretty cool parking structure they have here. I haven't seen that before. As you see, Sunday's the day to come out here and run. There's really no traffic here because all the businesses are closed. So this road is pretty quiet until the evening when the UPS trucks start rolling in from out of state. But I'm gonna cut the camera and get back to the wagon, and we'll think about a few things and see if I can carry this thing out maybe a little farther. You know, from my calculations, we should be about 90 mile an hour right now. But in order to get to 90, you know, that front end's got to stay down. I mean, I have 4 of these lipo packs. I should bring more than 1 pack. Because what happens is after the first run, 420 a cell drops down to about 410 a cell. Then the second run brings it to about 405 a cell. And then the third and fourth run will get to 4 volts a cell and then 380 a cell. And once I'm at that 380 a cell, if I try to do a speed run, it'll do the run, but it'll be like 6 miles an hour off, just because it doesn't have a full battery pack. Whew. Getting my exercise this morning. It's one thing about speed running. I should bring an electric scooter out here with me, just so I'm not walking all over this road. Do get the random lost traffic down here every now and then, but as you can see, the road's really quiet, and the road's wide enough for me, you know, that I have plenty of control of the RC. But 75 miles an hour on the street tire. And what I think I'm going to do now, I think what's happening is there's just too much grip in this tire. So every time I pull the trigger, the tire's hooking up and lifting the front. Where I think if I run the factory tire, that hard compound will just slip a little and just keep the front end down with all that power. Because like I showed when I unboxed the Promoto, you can do a burnout on the factory knobby tire. And the knobby tire might be the way to go. We know going up to the factory tire, we gain 2 miles an hour. So I know this would have been a 77 mile an hour run, but I think it would have kept the front end down. So I'm gonna go back and put on the factory tire, charge up the pack, and then we're gonna get out here this evening and see if the factory tire will keep that front end down. If not, I'm gonna have to start adding weights to the front up here, some wheel weights, and keep that front end down, because I don't need the wheelies. Somebody was talking about, do they make an extended swing arm yet? I haven't seen a swing arm with a chain yet. Somebody did post a picture of an extended swing arm when the Promoto was first released, but it was a like 3D mock-up printed like joke type thing, I think, because I haven't seen anything more from that YouTuber. But there we go. Like, comment, subscribe. 75 miles an hour. We're slowly getting up there, and we'll see what the factory tire does later. Definitely don't crash your RC. If you feel it getting out of control, just don't push it. The whole thing is slow trigger control. That's what you have to do. We know that 4S is going to be the ticket to get us to about 90. And I think with gearing, I should be able to get it to 100. But I don't know. How much road is it going to take? Is it going to take 2 miles to get to 100? I'm just unsure at this point. So, need to make it up down low and then carry it out. What's happening right now is down low, I can't pull the trigger hard enough to keep the front wheel down to get it up to speed before I can start rolling in. Still haven't hit full throttle, which sucks. Every time I get to about half trigger to 3/4, even carrying it out, it was picking up the front end and I have to let off. If I don't let off, what happens is the AVC takes over and it does throttle cut because it's on an off-road setup right now. Wheelie mode or off-road setup. It might be on wheelie mode. It's on the 0, the center, on the auxiliary, which I believe is on-road setup. But it did do a wheelie, so that's kind of scary. It didn't cut the trigger fast enough to keep it down. Just some words of wisdom, things I've learned testing this thing. Whole reason I strap the rider down is not only for the aerodynamics. I think the helmet hitting the wind is dispersing the air and helping keep the RC down. The other thing is, when you have this rider upright, I don't know if you notice, but as you're going down the road, the top half of the rider is bouncing back and forth. And when it's bouncing back and forth, it's making the RC very unstable at higher speeds. So if you just stick a zip tie around his head and around the handlebars and zip tie him tight against the upper handlebars, since the handlebars don't turn, it really stabilizes the RC and helps you keep control over it. These on-road tires, they're so short that when it leans on the chain side, like me, I had a little bit of a range issue and I went to turn and I could see the RC not doing what I'm asking it to do. And so at that point, I have a fail-safe set up, brake at 30%, and what I do is I just keep it in the middle of the road so that it'll go and then just kind of fall over. But when it falls over with the small tire, the sprocket hits the ground and the chain hits the ground. So I have the chain guard off. That's the whole reason I have the chain guard off. So with the factory tire, when it leans to the side, I can just walk closer to it and then tap the trigger and get the RC up. With this tire, I can't do that. I have to stop it and then walk down to it. So I really think that the factory tire is the way to go. I'm doing testing with this on-road tire because I wanted a slower speed. I didn't want to go out and just get the fastest time out there because depending on where this motor is at, because the KVs that are in it, sometimes putting a smaller tire on, you'll go faster. So that's what I'm in the process of testing, and we are going to go out and run the factory tire. I'm going to leave the on-road tire on the front, but the rear, I'm going to put the factory tire back on. That'll give it the rake I think it needs to keep that front end down. If that doesn't work, I am going to pull the shocks apart and then put fuel tubing on the inside, and I'm going to shorten those front shock tubes. So those are my plans. Stay tuned for all that. Just wanted to explain why I'm tying down the rider like I'm tying him down. It's really to stabilize the RC. So, and then try to keep the wind off the rider's chest. Some were saying go ahead and lose the rider, but there are those out there that are saying without the rider, it's not an official run, which, whatever. I mean, I'm not doing this for some world record. I'm doing this to go 100 miles an hour with the Promoto. And some don't understand. They're like, why are you making all these changes? Honestly, the only change I have to this thing is I've zip tied the servo saver, I've changed the ESC, and I put on-road tires on it. Modified the battery box. Haven't cut anything
this stuff is still all stock. I haven't cut any side plates. I haven't chopped anything up. It's still like it was when I bought it. So as far as changes to go these kind of speeds with very little modifications, that's what I love. But just wanted to give you guys a little insight. Like, comment, subscribe. Definitely appreciate the super chats. Everybody out there supporting the channel. It's awesome to see. Catch you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.
Full trigger. So we're going to hit stop, read, 42 miles an hour. All right, I'm going to get it turned around, and here we go. Stop, read, 62 miles an hour. Here we go. Stop, read, 61 miles an hour, battery's going down. Here we go. Full trigger. Stop, read, 44 miles an hour. Stop, read, yep, 44 miles an hour again. Let's see. Stop, read, 63 miles an hour. Stop, read, yep, 63. So 63 on 3S with the taller tire. Full trigger. Stop, read, 46 miles an hour, no rider. Oh, it had a gyro speed wobble. Yep, death wobble. Read at 63 miles an hour. So we're gonna hit stop, read, 70 miles an hour. Stop. Read. Right at 70 miles an hour. Ooh. Stop. Read 66. Stop. Read 69 miles an hour.